statement issued by ACP David Eklu, the Director of Public Affairs, has announced the Eastern Regional Commander DCOP Simon Apeku as the new Director of Operations, while DCOP Tete Yohonu is the new Director of Police Intelligence. And government has resolved to enhance the operation Calm Life to forestall the increasing spate of armed robbery in the country and ensure a better protection of life and property. Information Minister Mustafa Hamid at a press briefing said effective Thursday there will be heavy military and police presence in major cities nationwide. Also in the news, the Ghana Health Service has confirmed a case of Lassa fever at the Tema General Hospital. A press release indicated that a 26-year-old man was rushed to the hospital on February 23 but died on February 28. A confirmation followed a test conducted by the Noguchi Memorial Institute in Accra. In Parliament, the Subsidiary Legislation Committee has unanimously agreed that law students be made to write entrance exams as an entry requirement. The legislation instrument has been laid by the chairman, Mahama Yariga, and debate on it is expected Friday. Meanwhile, Minister of Justice is expected to lay a new bill next week in Parliament to amend Article 32 of the Ghana School of Law Act. On the international front, the Global Economic Crime and Fraud Survey released by PricewaterhouseCoopers on February 27, 2008 found out that South Africa's crime rate of 77% was much higher than the global rate of 49% consistently. This makes South Africa the country with the highest reported rate of economic crime in the world. Those were our major news highlights. Remember, you can hear us live on 3FM 92.7 and you can follow our live stream on Facebook and on 3news.com. Up next is the big one. So let's start a big one by taking you through some key statistics on the data of robberies in Accra. So if you look at what we have here, in January to March of 2017, there were 7 car robberies, and then residential robberies, which was the highest during that period, was 82. Robbery at work, 8. And street robbery, 61 during that period. A total of 158 crimes were reported in January to March of 2017. Now let's look at the data for January of 2018. Street robbery amounted to 43. Remember, that is January alone. Residential robberies, 31. Car robberies, 10. And robbery at work, 5. So in January of 2008, there being a total of 89 robberies from the beginning of the year, and compared that to what happened in 2017. That is a huge jump in the rate of crime in the capital. So government has resolved to enhance the Operation Calm Life to avert the rising spate of armed robberies and ensure a better protection of life and property. Information Minister Mustafa Hamid at a press briefing said effective Thursday there will be heavy military and police presence in major cities nationwide.
According to the Information Minister, an emergency meeting was held between the Vice President and all heads of security agencies following the raid on Royal Motors at the North Industrial Area on Tuesday and the shooting and killing of a Lebanese cashier on Wednesday in Tema to draw up new strategies in addressing the crime situation. A 6-point approach including the surveillance of financial institutions has been adopted. Government has also directed all financial institutions to install CCTV cameras on their premises. The Information Minister urged the public to be vigilant and report suspicious characters in their communities to the law enforcement agencies.
And the Inspector General of Police has announced 11 major changes in the security hierarchy following an escalation of crime in the country in recent times. The IGP has reassigned his Director of Operations, Commissioner of Police George Dampare, to head the Research Department. A statement issued by Assistant Commissioner of Police David Ekulu, the Director of Public Affairs, has announced the Eastern Regional Commander DCOP Simon Afeku as the new Director of Operations, while DCOP Tete Yohonu is the new Director of Police Intelligence. The following changes have also been effected by the police hierarchy. COP Reverend David Neni Ampabenin, Central Regional Commander, is now the Director General Special Duties. And DCOP Alfonso Edu Amankwa, Commander in charge of Central MTTU, Motor Traffic and Transport Unit, Accra Region, is now the Regional Commander, Eastern Region. ACP Mr. Anderson Fosu Echar, Commander of the Police Academy, is now the Commander in charge of the Central Motor Traffic and Transport Unit, MTTU. And still staying on security, safety expert and security analyst Adam Bona says the shake-up in the police service is a major decision to repose confidence in Ghanaians. In his reaction to the reshuffling, he reiterated the need for intelligence in the security setup to quell crimes before they happen.
The security and safety expert is of the view, though there have been massive reshuffle in the police service, if citizens do not take personal security seriously, most of the policy drive to fight crime will not be successful.
When you kind of get to that point where you have too many of these crime cases breaking, then you have to quickly do an in-depth analysis and reshuffle. At the moment, it's around 0. We don't have to allow it to go to negative because, you see, the police alone cannot fight these criminal elements. You need the public support.
In reaction to the malfunction guns the police operate with, he said, though government has procured some equipment including AK-47 rifles for the police, he is of the view if intelligence is not made paramount, nothing will change.
Rather go for intelligence first before the guns. If you have intelligence, you don't need a gun.
Security situation in the country has become a worry in recent times where armed robbers have gunned down their victims.
Let's do some analysis now. We have on the telephone lines founder and executive director of the Africa Center for Security and Counterterrorism. He's also a security expert, Mr. Emmanuel Coating. Good evening, Mr. Coating. Are you surprised that the spate of armed robberies in the country and its corresponding reshuffling of the top brass of the police service?
Well, thank you for having me, and good evening to your very cherished viewers. I'm not surprised at all. Like you interviewed me last night, I was of the view that the chain of command of the police service has to be looked at. And I personally call for the removal of the Director General of Operations. And luckily, we have a listening IGP, and he did that. But if you look at this reshuffle, it's quite interesting. With Yehonu coming to intelligence, and this UOP Afoko, who is Afoko, who is a no-nonsense person and an operational guy, I think that it is very good reshuffle the IGP did, bearing in mind that if they don't live up to expectations, the general public will call for his head.
But Mr. Kotin, let's look at the specific qualities of some of the key people. I mean, since you brought in Yehonu has been Director of Operations for quite some time, and he has a solid network of informants who have been very critical in his successes during the tenure of Atinga, Rosebio Atinga. But to remove him from there to head intelligence, is it a good thing, really? Because you would have thought that if he remained in charge of operations, then his previous experience would have been more effective in that role.
If you look at the two roles, they go hand in hand. The Director General of Operations and the Director General Intelligence, their works are actually complementary. It's like the one feeding the other, and they act in unison. So why I feel his reshuffle is interesting is the fact that he has headed the Director General before, and now he's come to intelligence. So the complementary role you play with this UOP Simon Afeku, who is a no-nonsense operational guy, is going to work in the shorter term. But in the longer run, I don't know. But you see, Stephen, I always say this thing. We don't have to always find shortcuts to our security issues. And you know that when issues like this come, we will talk about it, and that is the end of it. I think the police service needs to come with an operational plan, a short and medium and long-term plan.
Exactly. So Mr. Kotin, in the absence of that operational plan you're talking about, the IGP as a first step decided to do reshuffling. My key concern is how effective will this kind of reshuffle be to the fight against crime? Is it reshuffling the top hierarchy that matters, or an effective operational plan that is required?
If you look at the key persons that have been brought to this frontline role, they come with a wealth of experience. And in every organization, you need leadership. And these people have demonstrated this leadership role in their previous roles. And I am saying that it's not just the matter of reshuffling that will arrest the problem. It's the people that you are bringing and the wealth of experience they are bringing to bear on the situation. And you realize that the information minister announced from tomorrow we're going to see Operation Calm Life. This is one single element that was missing: visibility. Visibility brings about deterrence. But unfortunately, when this IGP took over, he directed that most of the police barracks should be disbanded. And he even went to the extent of saying that from the time he gave the directive, even unregistered cars can no longer be arrested or detained by the police service. And I think he has to reverse, because criminals sort of use these unregistered vehicles to commit crime. And beyond that, my brother, the IGP knows very well that the confidence between his service and the general public is at its lowest ebb. So it is incumbent on him, given the reshuffles he has done. If nothing comes out of it, it is his head we are going to call for. Right. But I am not only saying that the reshuffle should always be done at the top there, Stephen. There are police personnel at various stations that have stayed there over 10 years. And you know, I've mentioned this issue in the past. Familiarity, it breeds contempt, and it becomes difficult to fight crime if you allow our personnel to stay at the various police posts over this length of period. And sometimes they even go to bed with the criminals.
Right. Mr. Koting, we're grateful for your time, though, extremely. Mr. Koting, Emmanuel Koting is a security analyst. He's a founder and executive director of the African Center for Security and Counterterrorism. I am Stephen Enti, and you're still watching News at 10. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Now, leader of the All People's Congress, Hassan Ayariga, has described the Flagstaff House as a clearing agency for corruption. Responding to the recent Transparency International Corruption Perception Index release, he also said corruption in the country is likely to increase this year if the president continues to shield corrupt government officials.
Latest Corruption Perception Index by Transparency International ranked Ghana 81 out of 180 countries. The release is a reflection of Ghana's poor performance in fighting corruption in the last 6 years. The ruling government and the opposition National Democratic Congress have been involved in blame games over the Diamond Report. The All People's Congress is the next to speak on the development. The political parties of the view successive governments have done little in the fight against corruption in the country, hence the CPI has been charitable with Ghana. Its leader, Dr. Hassan Ayariga, said corruption is likely to soar since alleged corrupt government officials are being shielded by the president.
It is clear from the above that corruption is being nurtured to grow. The rate at which we are going now, 2018 will be worse than 2017. All is not well with the country if we do not devote much attention to fighting the canker called corruption. Our country will degenerate into unimaginable realms. It is time we demand that government works.
On the recent spate of armed robbery in parts of the country, Dr. Hassan Ayariga blames political interference in the recruitment of security personnel.
The government, instead of making due diligence or using the proper standard in making sure that our policemen and city men are properly recruited into the police, we don't do that. What we do is that, bring me the list of the men you want to go to police. No background checks, nothing. Then you just start protocol list. The armed robbers we are recruiting as policemen.
He preferred some solutions.
Digitalize all government agencies and public institutions so that cash transaction is eradicated completely. Use the power of technology to build dynamic and continuous exchange between key stakeholders, government, citizens, businesses, civil society groups, media and academia.
The APC believes the country could be rid of corruption if every citizen joins to fight the canker.
So other stories, the 22nd edition of the Ghana International Trade Fair has opened in Accra. After a long break, over 600 exhibitors are participating in the 8-day event. The chief executive of the Ghana Trade Fair Company, Dr. Agnes Edu, disclosed that the Trade Fair Center would be developed into a convention center by next year.
The 2018 Ghana International Trade Fair, which is under the theme Industrializing Ghana, Creating Jobs, will run till March 7. Over 400 local exhibitors and a little over 200 foreign exhibitors are participating in the fair. Participants are showcasing items ranging from furniture, construction and mining equipment, medicine, clothing to metal works. The Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Trade Fair Company, Dr. Agnes Edu, in an interview indicated the need to make the trade fair site active all year round.
Every month, what we are going to do from now on is to put on industry-specific fairs. In addition, every year there will be the International Trade Fair as well. By 2019, we hope to transform the entire site. We are going to build a proper convention center here, and that we are making it, the whole site will be a mixed-use, well-planned, green buildings that can sustain itself.
She assured exhibitors and patrons of adequate security during and after the fair. Dr. Agnes Edu noted the power situation at the Trade Fair Center has stabilized as the company has an arrangement with ECG to pay up all arrears.
We've been back on the grid for a couple of months and so far so good. First we put a down payment of about 10% and every month we have scheduled a payment arrangements that we do with them. The problem is where we are going to take Trade Fair into the next century, into the 21st century and beyond.
The coordinator of the One District, One Factory, Gifty Ohene, was hopeful the fair will boost the industrialization drive of the country.
It fits very well into the government-owned agenda of industrializing the country to create jobs and also give us other benefits. It's the expectation that even the local entrepreneurs are going to get partners and are going to get ideas, and it's going to give a boost to the whole One District, One Factory policy.
Some of the exhibitors were hopeful the fair will expand their businesses.
I'm just hoping for the best. Yeah, after this fair, I look forward to a greater future for coconut cooking oil.
And to also help us push the Ghanaian herbal medicine industry to that level where it will become a natural choice for everyone.